Hello everyone. Today let us study the topic General Reactions of Amino Acids. This is Dr. Anupama from the Department of Biochemistry, St. Joseph's College for Women, Visakhapatnam. Contents include the reactions of amino acid metabolism, that is transamination reactions, oxidative deamination and decarboxylation reactions will be dealt in detail. General reactions of amino acid metabolism. Yes, amino acids undergo many reactions, of which there are few important ones like the transamination and deamination reactions. These reactions, they release ammonia. This ammonia of the amino acids, it is utilized in the formation of urea, which is the excretory end product of protein metabolism or amino acid metabolism. The deamination of amino acids will result in keto acids. These keto acids, either they end up in generating energy or they may be utilized for the synthesis of glucose or for the formation of other amino acids or for non-essential amino acids. Let us see an overview of amino acid metabolism. So amino acids, we get them through the dietary proteins or from the body proteins. And these amino acids, they may be reutilized for protein synthesis. And they may be also used for the synthesis of nitrogen containing compounds. During their metabolism, they undergo transamination and deamination reactions as we have seen. Transamination reaction, during this process, amino group is transferred from the amino acid to alpha ketoglutarate to result in glutamate. So this amino acid, it is converted to keto acid. And now this glutamate is involved in deamination and ammonia is released, which will end up in urea synthesis. These keto acids, again as we have seen, they may go for energy production or for the synthesis of glucose or for the fats or for the synthesis of some non-essential amino acids. Transamination reaction. The name itself is indicating that it involves transfer of amino group from one amino acid to another keto acid, and hence it's called as transamination. This process, it involves interconversion of an amino acid and again a keto acid. So the amino acid is converted into a keto acid while the keto acid is converted into an amino acid during these transamination reactions. And these reactions are catalyzed by transaminases or aminotransperases. Salient features of transamination. These reactions involve the presence of specific transaminases. There are specific transaminases for each pair of amino and keto acid. We have aspartate transaminase, alanine transaminase, etc. And these contribute majorly to these reactions. We have pyridoxal phosphate, which is the coenzyme that is required for these reactions. And here during transamination, there is no free ammonia released and the transamination reactions are reversible. These transamination reactions, they are also required for the production of non-essential amino acids. They are required for generation of energy, for glutamate formation, and serum transaminases, they are important for diagnostics also. We see that almost all amino acids, they participate in this except lysine, threonine, proline and hydroxyproline. Coming to mechanism of transamination. Here we will see an example of alanine pyruvate transaminase. So here you see that alanine is transaminated to pyruvate. This particular enzyme, it requires pyridoxal phosphate PLP as the coenzyme, and the amino group is first transferred to pyridoxal phosphate. Here this pyridoxal phosphate is associated with the enzyme and it forms a Schiff's base as an intermediate during transamination reaction. Deamination reaction. The name itself is indicating that it involves removal of ammonia. That is what is deamination. So the amino acid, it releases ammonia and it becomes a keto acid. We have oxidative deamination and non-oxidative deamination. Coming to oxidative deamination, this results in liberation of ammonia, and one more thing is it is coupled with oxidation. The amino acid is oxidized. These majorly take place in liver and kidney, and here the purpose is to release ammonia for urea synthesis, and the keto acids formed, they are again included for energy production or energy generation. Here is an example for oxidative deamination catalyzed by glutamate dehydrogenase. So L-glutamate, it is initially oxidized to alpha aminoglutarate, where NAD is a hydrogen acceptor. Now this undergoes deamination, resulting in alpha ketoglutarate, and you have ammonia which is released at the end of the reaction. We also have oxidative deamination by amino acid oxidases. There are L-amino acid oxidases and D-amino acid oxidases present in us. These are flavoproteins and they contain FMN and FAD respectively. These amino acid oxidases, they convert the amino acids into keto acids, resulting in the release of ammonia, and during this process you also have hydrogen peroxide which is formed, which is again lysed or removed. It is decomposed by catalase into water and oxygen. Now we will see non-oxidative deamination. Here we have some examples, like we have amino acid dehydrases. We have serine, threonine and homoserine, which are converted into respective alpha keto acids. These are hydroxy amino acids which are converted into respective keto acids by dehydrases, and parallelly you can see ammonia is produced, and these are also pyridoxal phosphate dependent hydrases. Amino acid desulfhydrases, these are involved in deamination of cysteine and homocysteine. These are deaminated to give rise to pyruvate. We can see that cysteine, by the enzyme desulfhydrases, it is converted into the keto acid pyruvate. We can see ammonia is released. We also have deamination of histidine, wherein you have histidinase which deaminates this amino acid and results in urocanate. So that's how histidine is also deaminated. Decarboxylation reaction. So decarboxylations, these are catalyzed by the enzymes decarboxylases. These are also pyridoxal phosphate containing enzymes which are present in both microorganisms as well as in other animal tissues. So the amino acids, they lose the carbon dioxide to result in amines which have lots of biological significance. Let us see some examples of amines obtained after decarboxylation of amino acids. Aspartic acid decarboxylation will result in alpha alanine and beta alanine. Then cysteine, it is converted to mercaptoethylamine. Then glutamic acid into gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA. Then histidine into histamine. Then 3,4-dihydroxyphenylalanine, that is DOPA, it is converted into dopamine. Then serine is converted into ethanolamine. Then 5-hydroxytryptophan, it is converted into serotonin. Alanine, it is found in proteins, while beta alanine and mercaptoethanol, they have coenzyme, they are present in coenzyme A. Then gamma aminobutyric acid, it is a mediator for central nervous system. Then histamine, it's a hypotensive effect, it has that hypotensive effect, anti-allergic effect. Then dopamine, it is a precursor for adrenaline. Then we have ethanolamine and even serotonin. Ethanolamine, it is in phosphatides, and serotonin, it has vasoconstrictive properties and also hormone releasing properties. Summary, we have studied few important reactions of amino acid metabolism, like the transamination, which involves transfer of amino group. Amino acid is converted to keto acid. Parallelly, a keto acid is converted into amino acid. Then we have seen oxidative deamination reactions. Both oxidative and non-oxidative we have dealt here. Oxidative deamination results in oxidation of the amino acid with the release of free ammonia. The ammonia ends up in urea cycle. Then we have seen decarboxylation reactions where carbon dioxide is lost from the amino acid and it results in amines which have lots of biological significance. The most suggested book for biochemistry for undergraduates is Satyanarayana. You can see that. Then decarboxylation studies took from this particular reference. Then we have slides, even references of ResearchGate. Thank you.